There's only two things that could be down there. If I like men and women, then there's one or two things that can be down there. If there's both, that's a bonus. I don't know. That's just DLC. I don't know what to tell you. And they said, well, I don't know how to explain it better than that. Do you feel like you have a difficult time by being a black content creator in general because of the aspect of you being black, or do you feel like that is a crutch that people use in order to stunt their own growth?
Um, I think it's a little both. Me personally, I'm not really one for the victim mentality or the victim mindset. Even when I see that the odds are stacked against me, I still don't really lean on that as a crutch or an excuse. Um, I just do me. For a long time, I used the algorithm as a crutch. Like, oh, the algorithm is cheating me, or I'm shadow banned. You already know how it is. You post something that does well, and then the next time you post it doesn't do anything. And I also would look at other people like, this girl gets on here and does a dance. She has a million subscribers, and then you got dudes over here really putting in work and they have no recognition. And you got people on here, there's dudes on here that are not even funny, or they not giving good messages, but somehow they excelling. So that was the mindset I used to think from. And then I realized that while they kept working, I was worried about everybody else. And that's where that victim mindset started to die out. It wasn't about being black. It wasn't about being tall, short, funny, not funny. It was about doing something, sticking to it, improving, and doing it consistently. And when I started to do those things, I had success on TikTok. I had grew like 100K in under a year on TikTok being consistent. And then eventually that translated over to YouTube. But I mean, I know what world we live in. I'm not going to act like I don't see it. And because it's big creators like Corey Kenshin that have dealt with the racism and the favoritism and things like that on YouTube. But at the end of the day, man, it's life. It ain't like we just getting here and we surprised by it. So I don't really pay it no mind.
It was an amazing thing. You started your YouTube channel what, like September? When was it? When did you start it?
September of last year.
Yeah, like that was incredible because that is almost unprecedented. Because you had just consistently said like, you know what? I'm gonna do my own thing. I have the entirety of what I got in this aspect. Are you aware that you have started a thumbnail trend?
Yes, I am. I think it's hilarious. And kudos to people because you have to take inspiration, but a lot of people don't know. But I got the thumbnail idea from the Kanye meme where he was holding up the paper. There's like the little yellow piece of paper, and people would put all types of text on it. The most popular one was where he was holding up the paper and it'd say "Find God" on it. And I seen it; it just had me. I was dying one day. And I was like, I can use that as a thumbnail. And then, as I started to get a little traction, I'm scrolling on my news feed and I see people holding up the paper. Some people using the same titles, same thumbnail, words and everything. And I just smile at it and keep going. It's nice to see because I've copied people and I've imitated people like down to the core when I was growing. So to see that kind of come full circle, it's like, okay, that's pretty cool.
You are what my people describe as the originator because I have 3 channels, right?
Mhm.
One with me and my wife. I do like reaction videos with her. The other one, it's like a TV. I just post whatever on the other one. Like I don't give a fuck what it is. I'll post whatever.
Absolutely.
And my main channel is my actual name, like Saros Whaley. That's just that's my name. And I use your thumbnail style in that video thing now, simply because one, it's easy.
Uh-huh.
It's surprisingly easy. I thought it was gonna be like, all right, how do I? Nope, it's really just straight up easy. And two, it resonates on a very core level of when you pull up that paper, right? It's like we're getting a peek into you ripped out a piece from your journal or diary and you're showing us this is what I got.
Somebody gets it. Somebody gets it. And on top of that, like, even though you can put words all over the screen, whatever, something in your mind still says this is artificial. Even if it looks good. When you're holding up a paper, you can put a smiley face on it. And somehow, some way it seems like art, or it seems like you said, a page from a journal. And you could keep it short and sweet on what you say, and it could tell such a deep message and it's not out of place. Like if I make a thumbnail and I got um the greatest cars over my head, it's like, okay, cool, but what about the greatest cars? You know what I'm saying? It just tells a little story. So that's pretty cool. You get that.
It's almost because I was in human sciences for 4 years. It's almost cathartic how you accidentally tapped into human psychology deeply. Like it was nuts. Because what you've done here is you've done forced perspective. It's kind of what Lord of the Rings does and movie directors do. You put the thumbnail in such a spot to where I have to read it. There's no universe it's like there's no universe in which I can't read it. So, and another thing I wanted to ask you, just in general about your philosophy in life, you seem to be somebody that excels in not allowing weakness in any capacity of your life. Do you go to the gym for the aspect of physical health or for the aspect of consistency? Which one do you think is more important?
Definitely consistency. Um, and it's more so just a challenge in life. Now, I'll be upfront with you. I haven't went to the gym. I'm gonna say in the last year, I don't think I went to the gym 20 times. Because I started working again last year. I eventually quit that job. And then when I met my girlfriend, I went to the gym with her a few times, but I was always on the road either working or with her. And eventually it was a waste of money to have a gym membership. And I have a pull-up bar in my room anyway. And it always had your body. That's what I rather anyway. But I noticed, I was like, bro, I'm losing so much weight because I was lifting dishes. And it was a workout every day. I come home every day, my back was sore, my legs were sore. I'm standing up all day, picking up on dishes all day. And you would get that practical strength. That's one thing about me. I prefer practical strength. Like I know I'm going off on a tangent, but
No, go ahead as much as you want.
So a few weeks ago, I got locked outside of my friend's apartment, and he was asleep, dead sleep. But I had left the balcony door unlocked. So I'm standing outside. It's in the middle of the night. And since I have practical strength, I love pull-ups. I was able to jump up on this pole, climb up the pole, pull myself up over a balcony on the second floor, and then get back in the house and go lay back down. Like little stuff like that. So, like I said, man, I like practical strength, but it's more so consistency. And the reason why I chose calisthenics is because it's fun. And it's just like a game for the mind. It's like I'm going in there and working in the physical aspect, but it's a game for my mind and it's just something to overcome. And it's like, you're just getting skills and it's just more progress in it. But physical health for me has always been there. I've always been pretty active. I've always been a little muscle head. When I was like 7, I used to try to do push-up competitions with everybody, played football and stuff like that. So that's not really the task for me. It's like, okay, I'm this is kind of natural for me. So what else is it to it? So that's why I kind of go and make these little games inside of life to kind of challenge myself, if that makes sense.
No, that makes sense because majority of my life I've spent fighting. Like a large part of my life I've spent actively fighting. And on the streets, I took MMA, I took Muay Thai. Boxing is the best striking thing I think on the planet. I think boxing is very practical. I don't think there's a better striking stance than boxing, in my opinion, to be quite fair with you.
Cool. I agree.
I have spent a lot of time fighting, and I'm a small dude. I'm 5'7", dude. I'm not tall at all. But generally,
Right there with you.
Wait, you 5'7"?
I'm 5'8" and a half.
5'8" now. He said
5'9" with Vapor Max on. Vapor Max are boots. I put these bad boys on. I'm 5'9" and I say I'm 5'10".
That boy said, "Yeah, you know what I'm saying. I'm basically 6 foot if you round up. I ain't gonna hold you. I'm basically."
Yeah, exactly. If you round up, I'm 6 foot.
So I spent so much time fighting. I met one of my friends. His name is Isaiah. Isaiah is such a gym head. He loves working out. It's his favorite thing. But he's not doing it for functional strength. So one day he said, "Hey, do you want to, you're the martial arts guy. You want to fight?" I was like, "Sure." So I put on the gloves with him. We fought. And he was so shocked because I am like 30 pounds lighter than him by like a wide margin. And all I did was grab his pinky and I was like, "Would you like to continue?" And he said, "Nah, I'm good." You just stop right there. So when it comes to people not knowing the best aspects about themselves, what is the worst piece of advice that you've ever heard someone say about like themselves? What's the worst piece of advice? Like, just worse.
Can you give me an example?
Let's say somebody says, "This world is cruel, so you have to be cruel." That's a horrible piece of
Mm,
advice, right? That's
mm.
complete garbage.
And I know exactly where you're coming from too. Um, the worst piece of advice that I've ever heard was this. This little lady told me one time, if you are doing something and the world loves you, or if the majority of the world loves you, majority of people love you, then it has to be evil and cruel in some way. I said, what? And she was referring more towards like mainstream media, and like if you have success in mainstream media and stuff like that, then you have to be dirty in some way. But I feel like yeah, on a general scale, maybe that is true. But if you stay true to yourself, you can work in a damn slaughterhouse, and you know what I mean. Still, it just that was the first thing that came to mind. Not gonna lie to you, I have a lot of information in my storage files that don't just I just can't pull from it. You know what I
Mm,
mean? So I'm sure I've had way worse advice than that. Like you shouldn't trust anybody. I think that's one.
mm,
You should never trust anybody. And I think you should trust everybody to be themselves. That way you don't get disappointed. That way you don't have to use the energy of always putting up a wall against people. Like let people just be them. If you tell me that you're the most loyal guy, all right, you're the most loyal guy. Now prove it. I'm not gonna instill that you know that admiration for your loyalty until you show that. But I'm also not going, well, he's not loyal. What sense does that make? I don't have the energy for that. So you go ahead and you show what you are, and if you show it, then I'll put your little tally mark down. But if you don't, then I'm not upset because I never got excited. I guess that's one of those things. But that's a good question.
I've had a lot of time to think about the questions to ask today.
That one caught me off guard. I'm not gonna lie. That was good.
Thank you. The a main aspect I do in my lifetime is I give people what I like to call popular advice in order
Mm,
to hit every marker. Because the best way I've found is to cast a net into a fish full of sea, sorry, a sea full of fish, and then grab as much as you can, and then I'll decide what fish to keep. That is my best way I operate as a human, and that is a very evil mentality to have, because what I do is I will say a very generalistic statement and apply it to a zodiac or an astrology and things of that
mm,
variety. Like, oh, you're cold and calculated, you must be a Virgo. Oh, you're emotional, you must be a Pisces. And I'll do that in order as a manipulation tactic, right? What key manipulation tactics do you think most people use that you yourself view as not true manipulation tactics?
um, I think I think everything is double sided,
Hmm.
except for something that's just purely evil. Like if I'm constantly like, using my emotions to make you feel bad for me, that is foul,
Hmm.
right? Or if I know that you care about something and I use that against you for evil intent, like let's say you said, if I do this with this lens, it's gonna piss you off, and then every time I want to piss you off, I just, hey, that's cricket. But I think just being a likable person, and there's no such thing as one side of a likable person. There's many things, but when you're just a good person, I mean, you naturally manipulate people. It's just like when a baby cries and look at you with those eyes, like they are manipulating you. When somebody constantly gives you things and then eventually they ask for something, they have manipulated you to kind of have that what would you call it? That obligation to give back. Like we are naturally seductive and manipulative. But as far as see, that's the best way I can explain it. It's like when you're doing something with the intent to seduce or with the intent to manipulate, that's where it becomes foul. if it's just a natural way of being, then it is what it is. You know what I mean?
Mm.
It's like, I mean, you naturally seduce people, the way you look at people, the way you talk to people. But when you text a girl all day and then you don't text her, and then you call her and tell her all these sweet nothings and then you don't say nothing, that's where it becomes crooked. But when you just in the moment and you doing whatever, and it's just natural. I guess that's what I mean when it's just natural. But
I,
anytime it becomes an ulterior motive, that's when it gets crooked, in
I
my opinion.
I was playing a video game one time, and I heard a piece of advice that I think about deeply, and my therapist said it to me one time, and it also messed me up deeply. They had said, "What is better, to be born good, or through a great effort combat a deep evil inside of you?" And I often think of this all the time. I think about this all the time because I have this deep fear in my soul that on my last day on my deathbed, that is when the meaning of things will come in and whisper into my ear how I should have conducted myself. I think hell truly is a fire pit. Well, it truly isn't a fire pit, it's a museum of regrets. And I think so deeply that I'll do a good action and I'll think to
Mhm.
myself, I don't feel any gratification from this action at all. I don't feel good about doing the action, and it'll be great for the people around me, but I won't feel good. So what is better? The great quiet battle with oneself and doing what one wants, or better for the whole of many? What do you think is better? One for all or all for one? What do you think is the best one for there?
One for all or all for one?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I think in order for us to do good by the world, you have to do good by yourself. So
Mm-hmm.
it's never one sided to me. It's like imagine if you went around every day and you did good deeds for everybody, but you did nothing for yourself. Well, what type of energy we dealing? What are we dealing with here? So I've been in situations too where I've done stuff for people and I really didn't feel much for it, but that's not the point. It's that you could do it and you did it and you made a positive imprint on somebody else. And eventually that'll come back to you or you'll realize, that was cool. And later on you may get that gratification about it. But my biggest fear once upon a time was death, but I've reasoned with that. But now it's just living a life of regret. Like you said, I live by the same philosophy. I don't want to be on my deathbed and my dreams come to me and like, hey, you didn't do anything with us, so we're going to the grave with you. Or this is what you could have been, and this is what you are. So that's why I just take every moment and try to be the best that I can, and help as many people as possible. That's why I like doing what I do. And I mean, every day I don't feel like doing that. I'm human. You know what I'm saying? I have my own problems. There's some videos I make, and I make videos for me, and it's advice for me, but it's a good thing that I'm able to share it with people. Like every video you see, I needed that. Even if I'm saying it to myself and I just needed to get it off my chest, I needed that, and I'm able to share it. And every day I don't feel like doing it, but after it's done, even if I don't think about it 5 minutes from now, 10 minutes from now, a few days later, I'll be like, that was a good thing to do. And kudos to you, hats off. That's just, one more point, and that's just the way I look at it, I guess.
It reminds me of a mentality. My friends often tell me, "Oh, I wanna be just like you. You're a big TikTok creator or something like that." And I tell them, "You must do this as if it is the only thing that matters forever.
Yeah,
This is an obsessive goal I have. This isn't like the tiniest dream I accomplish is worth more than the biggest dream I never attempt. This is my biggest dream, and I have no tiny dreams anymore." And they look at me like I'm crazy. Like, what are you talking about? I'm like, no, you gotta understand. I'm competing with everyone, and comparison is the thief of joy. There is no joy in this endeavor for the most part until you reach the plateau of I can do one video a month and be fine for a year. That is genuinely where I want my heart to be at, because I want to explore an adventure, because I think life should be more of an adventure than it is a struggle.
absolutely.
Do you feel in your life currently that it is now more of an adventure than it is a struggle?
Um, Going back to the victim mentality thing,
Hmm.
I think even the struggle is an adventure. There has to be struggle and adventure. But one thing about content creating in general, I've never liked to lock myself in a box. That's why I gravitated towards skit making and acting and things like that early on in my life, because you literally have the chance to step into somebody's shoes and not actually suffer the consequences. Like, you can be a fireman in a movie, and then you can be a police officer, then you can be a assassin. Like, you can do whatever you want. So to be able to do that on a personal scale, that was cool. But didn't have the time to do it. So this is why I ventured to the self improvement bubble, I guess you could say. But I still don't consider myself just a self improvement creator. My niche is me. So I have the freedom to do what I want, and it allows me and it gives me the resources to do what I want. And every day I'm striving to get more freedom to the point where I can literally post anything. And I've built such a strong relationship with my community that they will follow me into watching anything, whether it's me reviewing a camera, me traveling to Japan and hiking Mount Fuji, like it just don't matter. So that's why I post as much as I do. And I'm not really concerned about the struggle, I guess you can say. It just feels like an adventure to me. There was something you just said that it gave me a thought, but I can't remember exactly what it was. Um, oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
Mm.
So it's about like wanting to do this. A lot of people do want to do this, but they really don't, because it is a struggle to it, and you really do have to commit. But at the same time, there's not really much pressure for me because it's just me versus me every day. Um, the worst times I had in my life came from me comparing myself to other people and other things. And like, you would see people, they would grow with 1 million subscribers in a year, and you're like, bro, this dude is younger than me and he's already made it. But it's like, bro, your story may be different. You may be creating content for 10 years, and the first 5 years you were stuck at 100K. And then after those 5 years, you get to 10 mil. And then I may be creating for 10 years, and my first year I may get 5 million. And then by year 10, I'm at 6 million. So you just gotta, you in a battle with yourself, and that's the most glorious battle you have for the rest of your life. So just lock in, you know what I mean, and find peace within all of that. That's what I guess that's what I strive to do every day.
I remember my brother had came to me after I got like the 50,000 subscribers on TikTok, because I was just talking about my life. I'd been through garbage. I've married a 90-year-old woman. I had lived in the Amish country. I had done a lot of nonsense in my life just to exist.
Yeah, sure.
So what he said, he looked at me, like he grabbed me, like it's like 2 o'clock in the morning. I just got done editing a video. He said, "What a lovely thing this utopia is you have now." Because I just quit Amazon. He said, "What a lovely thing this utopia is. And I hope one day you'll be too young to remember the horror that came with this." And I said, huh. And I thought about that statement a lot. Because what he was talking about, in essence, what he was referring to was the building block, the foundation. Because my foundation is, I have a kingdom right now, but it's like bamboo stilts holding it up, realistically. Like,
Yeah.
that's what's going on right now. Do you think, what is more important to you? The foundation that is built, like how you want people to realize you're not here for Shimon Davis life advice. You're here for, this is me. This is me you're here for. You're here for what I am doing. You're here for the experience of broadcast yourself. YouTube, I'm broadcasting myself. What do you think is more important? The foundation, you think that's the most important part? Or do you think do you think the foundation is more important, or do you think the niching down to cater to everyone is more important? Which one do you think is the most important?
I think art is perverted the moment you cater to people. In business, you have to cater to people. That's what it is. You know, if I start a company and people buy the spicy chicken sandwich, you sell the spicy chicken sandwich. You know what I mean? Everybody has a chicken sandwich now. Chick-fil-A was like one of the first mainstream. Now everyone has chicken sandwiches. But as far as art goes, the moment you start creating art or anything creative, when you start to cater to people, you have perverted it. But inside of that, inside of being yourself, you still do have to give your audience what they came for. And you also have to take responsibility. For example, if for 10 years you were a Minecraft gamer and all you did was Minecraft, and then you decide to make a 2K video and your views drop, what did you expect? You created that. Now, at the same time, I would hope that you are a genuine person. If you've created a connection with your audience, that they will kind of follow you anywhere and everywhere and what you do. That would be cool, but at the same time, you got to take responsibility for that. That's why I established that very early on. I basically manipulated my audience in a way, and I would tell them this too in YouTube growth. So, um, some of the videos I made, I'd be like, man, I just want to be free. I just want to have a community that will watch me do anything. And then you'll see like two comments, like, yeah, bro, I'll watch you do anything. And then a few videos later, be like, and I feel like I built a community that'll follow me across the end of the earth. Yeah, bro, we'll watch you do anything. And it just builds this thing to where people may feel like that, but they don't really notice until you point it out. And now I have an entire tribe. You know what I mean? As genuine as possible. So that's the way I see it, man. You just have to be you through and through, and you don't want to make your content your personality. So it's like you should be able to pour your personality and who you are into whatever you do, into whatever story you tell. But the moment you cater to that audience, you cooked. Because if you stop catering to them, they gonna notice that, and that's when they leave. So that's the way I see that.
A very shocking revelation one of my fans had with me. They met me in person because they live in Detroit, and they said, "Hey,
Mhm.
let's hang out, let's meet up." I'm like, "Sure." I was downtown. I said, "I don't mind." And they were so shocked to discover that I am exactly how I portray myself. Period. And that is a big issue I think I've discovered with people is when they get behind the guise of anonymity. When they get behind the thing. That's why I even changed my name from Seros to God to just Seros Whaley. Because I'm beginning to understand now, and a lot of people need to understand this too. I am not an internet persona. There's a there's a
Mhm.
there's a bravery to my whole condition. It's to everyone's condition, I believe. Because we're brought into being in a potentially infinite and dead universe, right? And we're
Yep.
expected to get along as if nothing weird is happening. We can't have a breakdown. I will have a breakdown whenever I feel like it. I will have a breakdown in the comfort of my own home, and I will deal with it, and I will tell you about the breakdown. I will let you
Yep.
know that I am reckless. I am condescending. I am this. I am that. I make so many silly decisions. I am trying to align myself with the correct political opinions. I'm trying to stay thin. I'm trying to be attractive. I'm trying to be smart. I'm trying to find an ideal partner. I'm trying. I'm trying. I'm
Yeah.
trying. I'm trying. I'm just trying to find a little corner of modesty and meaning to sit in, all while on the edge of dying forever. That's all I want, just a little bit in this time space. And people need to grasp that on this internet stuff, when you want to become a content creator, when you want to do these things, it is so mind-numbingly disrespectful where you put like 2 hours into a video and then recording it, and then you spend like 3 days editing it, like 3 days straight, and 10 people watch it. That is the beauty of what the effort of labor is. Do you feel as though people do not commit to the effort of labor anymore?
Um, I do. I mean, the attention spans of people are horrible. Creators that are at fault of that, apps and how they run things are at fault. But that's why I say it's more important to cater to yourself with art. Because imagine if you painted 10 pictures and you wanted 1,000 people to see them, and then 900 show up. You failed subconsciously. But what if you just wanted to paint 10 pictures and you displayed those and you didn't expect anybody to come and then 900 people show up? Like, what the hell? It's like, okay. You know what I'm saying? Okay, I just did this for me. So that's why I create for myself. And on top of that, perspective is a big thing. So I try to keep myself right on my vocabulary, but we'll say I made a video and I only got 10 views. It's like only 10 views. Let 10 people walk in your room right now. It's too many people in here. Like, hey, get back. You know what I'm saying? So that's how I look at that. And I just stay grounded in that manner. And once you find those solid people, if one person will watch it, 10 will watch it. And if 10 will watch it, 100 will watch it. And it's up to you to capitalize on certain things like trends or, improving your editing or just putting yourself out there. And another thing, just a creative tip. It's like people will post a YouTube video that they took 10 days on as their first video. They're like, why does nobody watch it? Nobody knows you. Nobody knows. It's like, what if I just decided one day to create an electric car and I went to the Department of Motor Vehicles and like, yo, I created an electric car. Who the hell are you? What credentials do you have? I don't care if it's better than a Tesla. Who are you? So then that's when I would try to give it to some famous person and let them drive around and talk about it. You know what I mean? And that's where you build yourself into the algorithm, I guess you could say. and you get yourself known, and then that video that you thought did good, remake it or repost it if it's TikTok or something like that, and just see where it goes from there. But everything is just about a perspective for me. I'm a big perspective person. Yeah, yeah.
There was a group of people I was talking to in my Discord, and I was like, yeah, I got FD Signifier for an interview, and they said, what, you? And I said, yeah. And they said, how did you get FD Signifier? I was like, well, I asked. I messaged him and said, hey, do you want to do an interview? And he said, yeah. And they were like, yeah, but what else did you do? And I said, that's it. There was no there's no like grand plan, no structure design here. I really just my job is now content creation. This is my main gig. So all I do all day is message people, and in the hopes of, hey, I want to talk to you about I want to pick your brain about how this goes about, because I need more instruction on how to do things. I need more people. I need to build stronger foundations and connections at the very least. And people
Absolutely.
always are so baffled by this. They're like, man, how many times you message him? I was like, probably like 5. I don't know. Maybe 5 times, and then now we got an interview. He's like, oh.
Hey, man, people think it's magic, but it's not. You just gotta apply yourself.
It's strange, because I'm beginning to realize in this lifetime that people, when they don't see instant, when they don't see the word instant, when they don't see instant noodles, instant ramen, instant gratification, they don't see that, they don't want it. DoorDash, Grubhub, I don't use those because I just go drive. It's a lot easier. I'll just ride my bike to go get stuff, and I'll ride my bike if I don't have my car. It's much simpler. Do you think the discipline of the bulk of humanity has decreased significantly because of social media?
Honestly, I think it has increased.
Really?
Yeah, and this is where the perspective comes. If I go to the gym every day of the week, right, you would say that I'm disciplined.
Yeah.
Okay. But if I watch Netflix every day of the week, aren't I disciplined too? Discipline is not the problem. It's the identity crisis. And that's what it is. And unfortunately, social media in the modern world has made us way too comfortable. And we want everything conveniently. That's why DoorDash is thriving. That's why social media and all this quick stuff, the instant, I don't have to wait. It can just be done quickly. And the moment anything is delayed or takes time, we instantly get discouraged, and we're just weak-minded in that sense. But we are very disciplined, just to the wrong things. And that's what I tell people, man. Discipline is not the problem. You are capable because you're doing it now. But it's the identity behind it. What do you want, and what's the identity you need to achieve that? That's what you should be striving for. And that's how I live.
I hang out with primarily a bunch of niggas. To be quite real with you, not black people, niggas. There's a big difference.
Oh, I know. There's a difference.
And
Shout out.
and one of my friends came over, and they're trans, right? They came over to trans, and I brought my nigga friends with my trans friend. Now you can probably imagine that this was probably not the best combo, but they had said something so blissfully ignorant that it almost reaffirmed everything. Trans friends, trans man, my nigga friends come over, it's like, hey, you a nigga or you a female dog, you know what I'm saying, which one are you? And he said, well, I'm a man. He said, all right, cool, just making sure. He's like, well, I'm a trans man. And my nigga friend said, no, you just a man, right? Almost completely ignoring the trans part, because like biologically, you know, like AFAB, you know what I'm saying, born a woman, but the statement by the nigga reaffirmed them so deeply. The ignorance of the niggas shone through so deeply that it almost was cathartic. It looped back to being so misogynistic that it was progressive.
Literally.
And
Literally.
do you think that childlike mentality should be kept? Do you think that keeps you in a young mindset, that ignorance in everything? Do you think willful ignorance is better than the pursuit of sad knowledge?
That's a good question, a good perspective too. I think there has to be a balance of both in a way. And even though you know things, sometimes it's just not best to say them. But in a childlike sense, children will say anything. Why is your hair like that? why are you looking like that? Like they will say anything, but they are genuinely curious. But that's where I feel like as you grow, you get to tone things because it's not really about what you say, it's about how you say it. But like you said, he was so ignorant that it was actually progressive. Like they want to be known as this and they don't want um, to be left out, I guess you could say. And I feel like that is a problem with this whole movement is that there's too many labels being thrown around and there's too much division happening. And
Mm.
it's like you fighting against yourself. And then when you run into somebody like that that's so blatantly ignorant, they actually make sense because they not trying to, you know what I mean,
Niche it
force
down.
things.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, bro, it's just a little bit of a bunch of ingredients that need to be mixed in that pot. But that was a good question.
What
I
it
don't even
had?
think I answered that. You know?
You answered it. You answered it in the best way because you said it's a combination of both, and that's
Yes.
realistic. It has.
Yes.
You said it has to be balanced. That's realistic. That's real.
And
Be-
I think too many people are like one way or another. It's like, oh, like for example, it's like you're not trans, you're this. And then some people are like, no, I'm this, and it's like, all right, let's meet in the middle. It's like, all right, like, you know what I'm saying? I
no,
don't know.
no, because
That's
my appearance is horrifically deceptive. Because you look at me and you think, oh, he's like maybe a little bit gay, maybe LGBTQ. Because you look at me and you assume that. You might even assume, like, because back in the day, I didn't watch anime and I still look like this. They're like, oh, you must like watch anime. I'm like, no, I sell drugs. I don't, you know what I'm saying? I don't know anything about this fucking weeaboo shit, nigga. I don't fucking understand. I'm out here pushing, and they're like, "Oh, okay, never mind, then my bad." And my appearance is horribly deceptive because I go by my brother's mentality: boy, girl, both nut, right? Because he's met somebody that was both before. He met a hermaphrodite, and he met somebody who generally didn't have a lot of X or Y chromosomes. He met somebody like that, so he said, "Boy, girl, both none." He said, "See, this is the thing. This is the beautiful thing about me, KK." And I looked at him. I said, "What's the beautiful thing about you, CJ?" He said, "Look at me, right? I'm a nigga. So I'm gonna go down there. I'm gonna see one or two things. Pussy dick." I'm like, okay. And if I see a dick pussy or a pussy dick, guess what? What? If I'm bisexual, that's cool. But I'm a nigga first and everything else second. And niggas like pussy. And I'm like, okay. All right. She said, so if you bring one of your little trans friends over that's a man, but they got a pussy, that's pussy first. I'm a pussy sexual. If you want to call it that. And he started like tapping his chest. And I was like, this is so beautiful and ignorant. And there's an actual term for it. It's gynosexual. I didn't know that. It's so beautiful and ignorant. And I was like, damn, this is a nigga right here. This is such a nigga. I enjoy that willful, like the niggatry behind it. It's so beautiful.
big name to change.
Because I wish people had that mentality. Like to be black, most people think is to be a nigga, but to be black is much more than that, obviously.
No.
But to some people, they think of this experience as what my brother is. They think, you know what? I want to rap or do that, something like that. That's what they believe. Do you think that putting yourself in a box, like how, like putting yourself in so many different boxes, like, oh, I got neo pronouns, stuff like that. Do you think that, or like, I'm a Republican and I don't want anybody to have that. Do you think the aspect of putting yourself into a group destroys your individuality?
In some cases, yes. In some cases, no. Um, I feel like when you actively try to put those labels on yourself, or when you try to jump into all these different boxes, you end up jumping out of your own box. But what people kind of forget is that we are humans, we are social. So naturally, we're going to gravitate towards this, in the society, majority rules, things like that. Then you always have the people that take the road less traveled. But I think we try too much to not live in a sense. It's like in order to live, bro, you need to eat, drink water, get a good bit of exercise, and just lay down. But we do too much. That's what it is. We be doing too damn much, and it's like, oh, chill. Like you don't need all of this. Like politics, I can't stand it because you can't control anything. You vote, you can get mad. The thing's gonna be the same anyway. And Republicans, Democrats, Their terms might look different, but they all got the same goals, and it's just a big game to me. Maybe I'm crazy. Maybe I'm a conspiracy theorist.
No,
But
you're 100% on the mark, because I remember I was a lot of people were really appalled by me a few years back because I voted for Trump, and they were like, "Why the hell did you vote for Trump?" And I said, "I saw Home Alone. I don't know what's going on. I ain't know shit about politics. It was my first year voting. I saw Home Alone, saw Trump. I didn't know who the fuck the other nigga was. I was like, okay, cool. I like Home Alone." And they were like, "People like you shouldn't have the right to vote." And I'm like, cool, that's fine. Is it because I'm black or is it because I'm ignorant? Which one? And they said, it's because you're ignorant. I'm like, oh, that's cool. And for the next 4 years, the funniest shit of my life happened. I was on Twitter arguing with Trump. I'm blocked by Donald Trump on Twitter. I didn't know that. He blocked me. I was arguing with this nigga for 3 weeks straight. I was like, this is the best fight. I never argue with a president. Super
that's
cool.
crazy.
It was cool. I was like, this is great. I'm super happy about this. And people
I
had,
voted.
yeah, I voted for this. And I was like, oh, this, because Trump to me is what I think a nigga is. He's an honest liar. Like he's he's a very honest liar. He's like, yeah. And I had resonated with him being like, because I don't know politicians. I don't know them. I don't. Trump, I know he's a piece of shit. He doesn't try to hide it. And I think that authenticity is so important in people. Like with Joe Biden, I don't know what the fuck he's doing. I have no clue. With Trump, I know that I don't want him anywhere near me. I know that for a fact. Do you think it is better to be authentic as opposed to being good or bad?
Authentic is key. Because would you rather be locked in a room with an assassin who is known to kill, or be in an entire hospital with 100 people that may be peaceful, or they may be absolute bad shit, crazy, cuckoo killers? I'm gonna take my chances with the one I know. You know what I mean? Like, I don't want to dig in the box and see what's in it. No. Tell me what it is, and then I'll decide whether I want to go in that box or not. So that's the thing. Like you said, Trump was a very honest liar, and they're like, "Oh, well, you evade taxes." Yeah, I do. You should too. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's things like that, bro, and that sneaky stuff, things going on behind your back, which is gonna always happen. But I'd rather you be real. I can at least respect you that way, because me and you can be friends, and you can lie to me all you want to. I lose that certain level of respect for you. But me and you, I'm not gonna say enemies, because I'm not enemies with anybody. You're gonna be an enemy to yourself. I may dislike you or what you do, but I don't have the energy to, you know, you're not my foe. This is not battle. I got to battle with myself. So, for that point, you could be the grimiest, slimiest dude, but if you own up to that, kudos to you. Respect to you, human. But as a friend, I can't shake your hand, but respect to you. If you try to shake, I'll shake your hand unless you're a rapist. That's right.
Yeah, that's a bit too much.
Certain things are unforgivable. You know what I mean? Certain things are unforgivable. But if you own up to it, not rape, of course. If you own up to other things that are forgivable or just grimy and slimy, I can respect you for that. But
you have inadvertently done the man versus bear argument on accident. You've accidentally done it.
Nope, we ain't going there.
You already did it. I'm not gonna bring it up, but you've done it.
For sure. I went down to a rabbit hole.
Yeah.
I understood where everybody was coming from, but I feel like people, I think it was kind of twisted too.
It was.
Women are usually more emotional, right? And the men are usually more logistical. But I feel like in this argument, a lot of men got very emotional.
Yes.
And they didn't really think, in terms of logistics. Like, people have been assaulted, people have been, messed over by men, humans in general. And, a woman is actually, she's less, physically capable than a man. Obviously a bear too. But at least about the bear. Like, the bear could attack you. The bear could be peaceful. You can avoid the bear. The person could be like, "Oh, let's get out of this forest together," and then slit your throat by the lake. Like, it's a whole bunch of things. I think obviously a man would want to be in the woods with another man, or rather than a bear. But a woman is kind of like, well, shit. I mean, I've had bad luck with men. I guess let's try bears, and you know what I mean. It's so many different
There's
ways you can look at it, man.
On a very personal note. This is This is a reveal about me that's happened. I went to the forest with my ex boss, because it was a little retreat thing. I worked for a debt collection company. I didn't know he was gay, right? I had no clue he was gay. Yeah, your eyes widened up. Yeah, that's what.
Oh, let me get some candy for this. Hold on.
He's getting prepped.
Hold on. I'm gonna just get one because I'm supposed to be on a diet.
So I get all prepared. I'm ready. I'm like, oh, cool. He's like, oh yeah, you know what I'm saying? This is it's gonna be super fun. It's gonna be great. And he's like, yeah. And like, I have been stressed out because I have been staying in an apartment where like there was a hole in the roof, and I have been having mold issues in my lungs. And he said, I know this humidifier technique that can help you out. And I said, really? He said, yeah. And we did yoga in the forest. It was very spiritual and peaceful. Rubbed my shoulders because he was helping me out, right? Then at night, he assaulted me. Like, genuinely speaking, he assaulted me, and I got assaulted that night. And I was like, well. I woke up, couldn't sit down. I was like, well. And it was horrible, right? It was bad. I went to HR. They didn't believe me because I was in the forest. And that is what horrified me. I was like, shit. They didn't know what happened. There was no way to prove what happened. And I ended up later getting horrific revenge, because I always get mine, because I'm a nigga first. We I ain't gonna talk about it because we did some things, but I got revenge afterwards. And everybody was telling me, they were like, man, that's messed up. When I told people, I was like, yeah. And it was like, do you feel like a bitch? I was like, what? And I was like, do you feel like a bitch? I was like, no, it's just I feel like it shouldn't have happened. And so I posed the question to everybody. I say, don't worry about if it was a man or a bear. If you a straight dude, what if it was a gay guy or a bear? Which one would you rather pick? Like a gay guy on ecstasy. Which one would you?
That does throw things into perspective.
You feel about that?
What's the same? Oh.
Yeah, it's wacky, isn't it? Because that's the only way I can make people understand that. Because when I heard first heard the argument, my obvious thought was choosing the bear because of Winnie the Pooh. Because I thought to myself, I was like, okay, a bear knows the forest. I was thinking logically in my mind. I was like, a bear knows the forest. A man doesn't ask for directions. I know I don't. So he's gonna know how to get out the forest, and if it's a bear like Goldilocks, he's gonna find the right bear that's just right. And I was just thinking, like, that was my thought process immediately. And everybody's like, no, it's a vicious bear. I'm like, okay, I'd rather die than get assaulted. To be quite real with you, that's my.
Gotta live with that. Yeah.
Yeah, I'd rather die. And they're like, oh, but life is life is precious. Life is a gift. As a matter of fact, the reward for life, I think, is death. I think the reward for a life well lived is a good sleep, and that's death. Because we're practicing every night for death. Death rehearsal is sleep. So and that's what happened. And then they said, oh wait, oh shit, I didn't think about that. And I was like, yeah. And you already, I had a question here, but you already answered that. I was going to ask, what do you think is worse, to get assaulted or death? You already answered that question. You're just like, nah, hold on now. Rapists are unforgivable. Would you willingly hang out with somebody who's killed 30 people? You don't know the intent. Like,
I don't know the intent.
No, they just state like, yeah, I've killed 30 people before. And then they just go back to eating IHOP. Like,
well, if I'm already there, I wouldn't just leave. It would make me a little curious because that person could have been in the military. That person could have killed 30 rapists. I mean, you don't really know, but I would definitely turn on my detective skills. I tell you that, and try to find some patterns because I'm not. If I look up and I see man takes 30 people to IHOP and then kills, I'm not being 31. We're not going to IHOP no more. You know what I'm saying? But yeah. Now, if somebody was like, oh, SA something, I'm gone. Like I said, that's one of those things. That's where I draw the line. I understand. Things about people that kill people for certain reasons, people that steal for certain reasons. But some things, there's just no explanation. There's no justification. It's just, yeah.
So, and this is a vast transition here. It's something I forgot earlier to ask. In terms of the LGBTQ I plus all the no, that's a lot of, it's like a whole labeling thing right now.
The alphabet gang.
Yeah, the alphabet gang. Yeah, in terms of that, do you feel it? Because what I'm noticing, and this is I'm bisexual. I'm married to a woman, and I'm bisexual, and everybody always looks at me like I'm crazy. I feel as if everybody that naturally associates or naturally wants to be a part of the LGBTQ tries to put themselves into a label paradox where I am a non-binary lesbian, let's say, right? Well, if you're non-binary, you don't have a gender, what I imagine, or you're both genders, I imagine. I'm not quite sure. So you're non-binary lesbian, well, that doesn't make any sense. Because if you're both, then how would you be a lesbian? Because it's a labeling paradox. Do you think in those labeling paradoxes that in that niche within a niche, it's kind of like the sub versus dub argument in anime or something like that, that niche within a niche, do you think that in itself is intrinsically destructive to the core root of their beliefs? Do you think it destroys its own dogma? Do you believe that it's destroying itself?
I do. And to revert back to what we talked about earlier, it's like, you know, people of that community, they all want to be accepted, but they continue to push themselves further and further and further and further away. It used to be gay. When I was growing up, all I knew was gay and lesbian. That's it, and bisexual. Now there's pansexual and I, you know, it's so much. And yeah, there's different explanations for it, but just say you're sexually liberated, or you just do whatever you want to do. This is what you choose to do, and just leave it at that. But there's just too much going on to the point where it starts to contradict. Like you said, how you gonna be non-binary, but you are labeled in the manner that you like a certain gender? It's like, what the hell? I'm not male and female, but I'm lesbian. Well, a lesbian is a woman that likes a woman.
They're like, we should update the definition to be AFAB attracted to AFAB. Well, that doesn't count to. Well, that's not fair, because I'm like, how is that not fair? It's like, well, you're disincluding trans women. It's like so much. There's so much minutia and specific things, and a lot of people always tell me, well, it doesn't affect you, so you shouldn't worry about it. Sadly, and I say this with the real genuine excess of my heart, I am a part of the community now. Because I've dated men, so I want to be a part of the talks. I want to know what's going on. I'd like to know where everybody stands point, so I don't misconstrue or step on toes. I would enjoy to know. Don't tell me I'm disincluded just because you don't want to deal with me. That's not true.
Exactly. That's the thing too, and it happens with religion too. It's like when people can't explain what they are saying, they push you away with it. Like with religion, it's like you go to ask a question. Oh, don't question God. That's what you don't do. It's like, how about explain? I'm curious. I want to know this because I want to believe in this, but you are giving me every reason not to believe in this, and I don't want to step on your toes. I don't want to offend anybody because I'm trying to be a part of this community. So please explain.
Yeah. What I love the most is this is my favorite thing my pastor does. My pastor used to do this shit all the time, and it worked so deeply. Ask me any question. Go ahead, watch this. It doesn't matter. Ask me any question. Watch this. Religion based, doesn't matter what it is. Go ahead.
Is there more good or evil in this world?
There is goodness in God, and everything the opposite of God is not goodness. So if it is evil, it is not God.
Spot on.
Everything he said, every question I asked, it didn't matter what it was, I'd be like, so I like men. He was like, you like men now, but sometimes you like women, and that's okay too. Listen, see, God made you in his image, and if the image is that you like men, then that's okay, but it's also the devil. God made a path for you. Like, he will be horribly religious and definitely homophobic, but he'll support you with it. He'll be like, cause I still eat shellfish. I'm like, what? Yeah, shellfish, that's killing another creature. But God made me so I can gain strength from that creature. The creature is a part of me now. It's a part of God. Everything is in God's kingdom. I'm like, realistically, that makes sense. That tracks. And that logic, it reminds me of nigga logic. Because it's so into itself that it becomes logical. Do you think that people need to be more into themselves?
I do, and I'll explain on many different levels. So I think when you create something like religion or a certain community, there's always going to be simple little laws. There's going to be simple little rules. But when things start to break down, you notice that everything gets confusing when there's too much. So less is more. It's like there's left and right. We can get on that, but then you start adding up and down and sideways and diagonal. It just gets too much, and it comes back down to left and right or wrong. But inside of that, you can make all these little loops and do all this little stuff, and that's what most people do with religion. But as far as with what did you ask? 'Cause I was about to go off. I'm not. I'm no.
I was you don't gotta reel it back. This is very free
What did you
expression.
ask me?
I had asked, do you think people need to be more into themselves?
All right, good. So yeah, yeah. So with the whole religion thing, I feel like a lot of religion people, especially, instead of trying to build that relationship with themselves and kind of figure things out for themselves and explain things through their own personal experiences, they just immediately go to that God thing or that religion thing. Or with the community thing, they immediately throw the community back in. It's like you won't even explain from here, you know? It's like what do you think though? Don't tell me what is or what isn't. What do you think? Like I wanna loop the
Hear your
information
mind,
through
yeah.
you. Yeah, it's like you just reading from something and I'm confused. You are confused, but you won't admit it.
what's
And
what's
you know what I
really
mean?
what's really scary all the time is I have my auntie-in-law, right? Because I'm married, thankfully. My auntie-in-law, she said to me something that scared the shit out of me. She said, God allows me every day to be kind. I pray every morning, and I'm not kind naturally, but God allows me to be kind. And I said, that is such a destruction of personal agency. It's scary. Like, to me, that's scary because it takes away, like, naturally me, I'm chaotic. Like, naturally, I'm a chaotic human. And I'm not saying it's like I'm a little trash goblin. No, I'm not saying whatever. No, I am naturally, I crave deeply, not good, not evil, not neutrality. I crave what is the most hilarious solution we can get to this problem. That's how I am as a person. Nobody makes me this way. I naturally need to get to the funniest way to get to the end point because that is the thing that provides me the most joy. That's all I look for. People will often be like, well, what will this person think of this? How will this me kind? I don't care about that. I never will and I never have. Where does the personal agency come in? Because if God is making you kind and you're not kind by yourself, then are you an asshole? What?
Now here's the loophole.
Mm.
If you are an asshole and you can't be kind by yourself, but God is allowing you to be kind, which would make God a great person or being, how are you created in the image of your God? Don't question God. That's what you don't do. Don't question, and that's where you know. And like a lot of people, I was in this live one time. People were having a religious debate, and I was interested, so I just stopped in. And one dude was arguing against like the Bible and religion, and all these people come in and was like, "Yo, I was drunk and I was down on my last, and I picked up a Bible and started reading, and God changed my life." And it's like, kudos to you. I'm happy for you, And I, no matter what I believe in, I still see the sides and everything. It's like, all right, kudos to you, but Jesus did not come down and take the alcohol out of your hand. If he did, please show me, because I want to be amazed. Jesus didn't come down and take the weed out of your drawer. You still had to make those decisions. Now, I do believe that God is energy, no matter how you look at it. God is energy. And energy is everywhere, energy is in everything. So for you to be able to believe in something other than yourself, and that allows you and assists you in a certain path, that is work of God. But it's the human perversion of everything. And it's I think you get what I'm
No,
saying.
I understand because God is extraterrestrial. He is not of Earth, and to grasp that, yeah, you understand, because
They make him humanly. It's like
he's
it's not like a
not.
puppet master. It's just maybe we wrong, maybe we crazy, but
The best way I can describe it is Deadpool. The only way I can describe to people is Deadpool. In the Marvel comics of a 2D universe, Deadpool is insane because he can hear us. That is how it operates. In the real life, if we heard a voice in God, we will either be revered as a legend, or we will either be seen as crazy. Some people revere Deadpool as a legend. Some people think he's crazy. That is how it is in real life. So take it one dimensional plane higher. On the first dimension, I can affect everything. I can create worlds and lives. Second dimension, I can rule the entirety of the universe. I can give people schizophrenia, BPD. I can do whatever I want. I can make them bisexual. I'm drawing this. I control the entire world. I'm making a universe. Imagine one universe higher than ours that can do the same thing we do to the second dimension. That is all God is. There's no universe in which we can conceptualize that. That is the point. The point of what God is, the energy of whatever he's supposed to be, is not sex. It's not anger. It's not fear. It's not even love. It's something deeper than that, something that we can't possibly fathom. That is the beauty of it. And people want to put this human aspect like, well, God's son and God doesn't have a son. That is God. Jesus was God. Grasp that for a second. It's not a son of God. He was God. Like, there's three pieces
and
of
so
God.
are you.
Yeah, you are God. You are God. This bottle cap held my drink. It was good to me. It's God. It's so agitating to witness people misconstrue the core essence of what they're trying to teach me. It's sad.
And this is where I believe everything ties in together. Now, that whole concept and how it frustrates you and me also, because people are trying once again to take all of God, put it in this bottle, right? And then they take all this whole bulk, this whole community, and they try to put it in little bitty bottles. And it's like, what are we really doing here? What are we really doing? Everything is the same, bro. Everything is connected in some way, shape, or form, man. I don't know, man. If you get it, you get it. If you don't, you don't. Shout out to everybody.
It's very sad. It's a very saddening experience. And we have covered a variety and vast amount of topics here today. And I'm very happy that I've gotten the chance to speak to you. And hopefully I get to speak to you again.
For sure. You're very well spoken, too. Very well spoken.
Most people get really shocked by that because whenever I reach out to somebody, they'll see my TikTok following, not watch any of my videos, and they'll be like, all right, well, he's got crazy hair, so he must, speak like a crackhead or something. That's usually what people think. That's what I enjoy. And then when I get here, I'm like, good evening, how are salutations? They're like, damn, he's good.
he's a professional one, huh?
Because this is it comes with the insanity aspect of what content creation is. I think you have to have such a hyper ego for this. It is almost disgusting to witness, because I've worked with people that have 3 million subscribers or 2 million or even somebody had 10 million one time, and I've witnessed something just the same throughout most. And you don't have this trait, which is very interesting. It is the commodification of conversation, where you even try to stop yourself. You're like, I'm getting too invested. I'm actually enjoying this. Because you were enjoying the conversation. You were like, oh, well, hold up a second. Because you're imposing a self-imposed time limit on yourself. But I also got lost in the sauce. I was like, this is great. We're talking. This is what I want. This is what I want. You are, I think, you're the third person. Because I spoke to FD Signifier. He did it. Daquan Wiltshire. And everybody else I interviewed. Because I interviewed like 30 people. They never gave me that. You gave it to me. You gave what I was seeking from this. This is nice. This is very nice. I enjoy this more than I've enjoyed most things. Cause thank you. Cause it feels like I'm speaking to a person as opposed to a personality.
That's what I'm saying, man. And that I hate that, bro. It's like, okay, so what's your story? I do YouTube, and yeah, that's it. It's like, bro, no. Who are you? If the aliens come down today, they want to represent you. Who are you? And it's like, bro, loosen up, or like be something, exist. Like, don't put on that facade. So I don't know, man. People just need to be a little bit more real, because it's scarce out here, man.
Oh,
it is scarce.
It's like, because I was talking to somebody and they interviewed me and they said, well, you ally yourself with the LGBTQ community, right? And I said, for the most part. And they said, what do you mean for the most part? And I said, Well, I don't align with everything because it's too much. It's claustrophobic. It's so
Yep.
claustrophobic that they can't be themselves when they want to be themselves deeply. It's scary. And they said, "Well, what do you mean by that?" And I said, let me put it to where, let me put it in the most simple terms possible. I like men and women. That's it. And they said, what? Well, what about trans men or trans women? There's only two things that could be down there. If I like men and women, then there's one or two things that can be down there. If there's both, that's a bonus. I don't know. That's just DLC. I don't know what to tell you. And they said, well, I don't know how to explain it better than that.
Hold on. DLC.
Is it not?
Was it paid for or was it free?
That's bonus content the developers put their heart and soul into. That's season pass content. That's battle pass content. I ain't gotta pay for it. That's what? It is. Is it not? Because I'm experiencing a vanilla game.
That was legendary.
And they looked at me because it's a simple concept. People can understand that, and then the person interviewing me said, for the record, anybody that's watching this, we respect all individualities. And I said, I don't. And they said, what? And I was like, I don't respect all of them. Because somebody might identify.
People like, it's like, bro, believe in what you want to believe in. But just because you don't believe in something, or just because you believe in something, that don't mean you have to step on other people's toes or pussyfoot around it. It's different ways to do things. Like, if you don't believe in something, then it is what it is. I'm not gonna bash anybody for what they do. I like women, and that's where I keep it. You know what I mean? But you want to do whatever you want to do. That don't determine the quality of who you are. You know, I've been around a lot of straight people who are assholes and not good people. You know what I'm saying? And the opposite of either dynamic. But it's like, bro, people they just don't know how to live, bro.
Cause
So
I
we just
I
don't know.
I had told my friend one time. I said, "No, I don't want to go to the gay bar." He said, "Why, man? I thought you liked men." I was like, "Yeah, I like dudes, right? That's fair. But you gotta grasp this, right? A gay bar is nothing. Like, it feels like predators. Like, cause they would.
Oh no, no. I have a cousin that's gay, right?
Yeah.
Cool dude. Now he went to a gay bar the other night, and he posted on Snapchat, right? And on the little bubble, he was at the White House and stuff like that. And I clicked on. I'm like, okay. Then I go through, and then in the middle of the stories, he's in a gay bar, and like, dude over there getting choked and kissed. Like, okay, do you? But like, damn. Like, is it like?
And someone had explained to me beautifully. They had said, because the gay community, the LGBTQ community, had experienced so much sexual repression, that now they want to explore it more. That's why you go to Pride Festival, you see like dick lollipops and stuff like that. And I'm like, that's fair. Yeah, thank you for the explanation. I appreciate that, you know. But at the same time, right, the same exact time, a gay man is never gonna be a threat to a woman. And someone said it to me so beautifully. They said, well, now you experience what it's like to be a woman, because a straight man is what a gay man is to you. And I said, valid, that's fair. However, men are scary to, like, gay men are scary to me for a lot of reasons, right? Because I've been assaulted by a gay man like that. And like, well, men are scary to me because I've been assaulted by a man. That's valid, that's fair, that's 100% valid. I'm not going to take that away. That's 100% real. But I went into an environment, I went to a gay bar specifically where that is like the it. That is it. Like, there's no other straight guys here. There's no other guys that like women. That is it. There's some women in there that are encouraging it, which makes it way worse. It makes it way worse. That makes it twice as bad. It's crazy. It's scary. It's scary. And I talk to people about this, and they're just like, well, how do you like men but you're homophobic? I'm like, I'm not homophobic, because, you know what I'm saying, I'm not. I genuinely am not. I don't have a fear. I don't have a genuine fear of gay people or gay men or lesbian or anything like that. It's just, I know on a grand scale, I've been on Grindr before. I know what's there. Like, I know what's there. That's the scary part.
You're aware of it.
Yeah.
It's just like, you know, I don't live my life in fear, but I don't live my life being naive either. Like, I'm not just gonna walk around in a dark alleyway and skip with a lollipop in my hand. Absolutely not. But I'm also not gonna walk down it like this. You know what I'm saying? So it's just, bro, you know things. But I wanted to ask you a question
Hmm.
too. Um, do you like being underestimated, and do you like the element of deception to work on your favor? So you like being, oh, I didn't think you were this. So do you like that?
Yes, it empowers me. It makes me feel powerful because if someone comes to me and they say I'm 5'7" or things of that, right? See my crazy hair, think I'm homeless. That's good. That's perfect. Now you've allowed your perception of me. Now everything I do outside of that is now dramatic. And that is the allure of what I am. Like you grasp it. You grasp it. That is because people like me because they underestimate me. That is the main core foundation of why people love me so deeply. People will see a guy with crazy hair doing a TikTok video. They'll be like, what is he about to say? My little brother is autistic and nonverbal, and he won a Tekken tournament because I listened to him. What? Wait,
Duh.
what? Yeah. And they're like, what? Show the little brother. I'm like, you got a little snippet of my life. You don't deserve to see more. Anyways, you'll see more later. Follow me. Like, what? I gotta see
Sure.
more of this guy. I was married to a 90-year-old woman. Wait, what? I just start off with bullshit. And they think of this, right? They're like, oh, he did it for money. When they hear the real reasoning, like, no, I was homeless. She offered me to help. She offered help. And she didn't want to be alone for the last years of her life. And people hear this and they're like, oh, he's kind. And then I'll say something like, I put termites in a nigga house. What? Yep. Put termites in his nigga house. What's up? Why'd you do that? Oh, because it was funny. What did it do? 4 years later, the house foundation crumbled. And they're confused why I would do that. And I'm like, yeah. And they're like, what?
It's me, huh?
I'm kind. I'm not good or bad or evil. I'm kind. But everything else, I'm not. I'm kind and fun. That's two things. That's it. If you had to break down my core elements, kind, fun. That's it. Nothing else.
Termites in somebody's house is crazy.
They kept parking in my spot. I was driving. I come home and I have a whole drive through, right? And so I'm like, and I can't park, and I would get a ticket if I parked on the street because of where I lived. So I had 17 tickets at one time. That's $1,700. I'm like, and then one day I was like, hey, I'll go over to his house. I'm like, hey, could you move your car? I know your cousins are here, but this is my driveway. And they said, oh, sorry, he's gonna be here for a few days. He's not really getting up, so, snooze you lose. I'm like, valid, I understand. Go on Amazon, spend $700 on termites. Just put it right in the basement. There you go. Bye. See you in 4 years. 4 years later, house crumbled, whole foundation destroyed. Woo! Wonder how that happened. Anyways. I am your karma.
You tried.
I tried, but naturally in my whole soul, I'm not gonna lie to myself. I'm not gonna be like, I'm not vindictive. No, I'm karma as a person. Like if wrong is done onto me, you're not my enemy. I'm not gonna hate you. However, if I sleep with your dad, that is on you. You shouldn't have cheated on me, girl. Now I gotta sleep with your dad. You can't sleep with my dad. He's straight. Wrong. I saw him on Grindr. You lost. You shouldn't mess with me. You messed up. Now I'm sleeping with your granddad too. Boom, he was on Grindr too. I'm sick of this.
See, I used to be like that too. I used to look at myself. I never really looked at it like that, like being karma. But I think a lot of my personality is just freedom in the sense that I know a lot of things, but I don't have the concepts. Like if you ask me, oh, have you ever studied the human science of this? I will tell you no. And then you go to explain something. I know exactly what you're talking about. I just don't labels. I don't like labels. I don't really like to,
Box yourself.
but I understand. Yeah, right. So, I used to feel like it was my job to teach people lessons. Um, and I looked at myself like karma in a sense. It's like, well, if you do this, now I have to teach you. Like it is my job to teach you. But I realized how negatively egotistical that was. It's like, bro, it's gonna come back to him. For one, you don't need to waste the energy doing that. Two, like, it's just not worth it, And it kind of perverts the lesson too when the lesson is forced. It's like if someone disrespects you and you're like, oh no, now I'm about to go out of my way to disrespect them. No, You just don't associate with that person, and if they ever come to you, it's like, why you don't talk to me anymore? It's because you are disrespectful, and I've told you multiple times, but you didn't listen. So these are the consequences. But it's not a forced thing. And one of the mistakes I made in my last relationship was that I felt the need to be selfishly unselfish, but in a toxic way. So let's say my girlfriend did something that I didn't agree with,
Mm.
or if she started some type of argument, sometimes I would let the argument go on, and I could very well nip it in the bud, but I would let it go on just so she could piss me off enough that I would not burst out, because I don't do that shit. And if I ever do that, it pisses me off, because now you done pissed me off. I allowed you to piss me off, and I feel like I lost, and I don't like losing. So I would purposely let her do shit and just let it build up and let it build up and let it build up and let situations keep going on, just for the sole fact that I want to teach her this is what happens. And I had good intent behind it, but it was the wrong way of going about it. And that wasn't my job to teach her those lessons. Some stuff we just have to learn for ourselves. And I had to realize, the ego in it. Like, for example, if I went through a heartbreak and me going to the gym 3 times a week solve my problems. If you went 4 times, you would, the heartbreak would be worse than if you went 2 times. The heartbreak would work. You had to go for 3 hours. You had to go for 3 days for 3 hours and 3 minutes. Like, you had to do 3 workouts. Like, whatever I went through, I'm so selfishly unselfish that I will literally force you and get pissed if you don't do it, because I know what it'll do for you. Like, if you're a coward, and I mean that lightly, heavily, all at the same time. If you're a coward and you run away from your problems, I'm gonna call you a coward. If I care about you, you are a fucking coward. Because I was a coward, and I know what it did, in my life, from me running away from problems and letting them snowball and putting band-aids over bullet wounds. And I talk to myself like that. I look in the mirror, you fucking coward. So if I care about you, the love doesn't change, but I realize it's just not your job. You know what I mean? It's not your job to save people. You're not the universal teacher. Of course, you're going to teach people things, and lessons are going to be given from you naturally, but it's just not your job, man. Some things are done, and you usually learn a lot. You usually learn more from trying to teach somebody something. It's like, man, that probably wasn't the best thing, but man, I already did it. So,
It's
but
fun because I'd spoken to, I don't know if you've ever heard of this person. It was Heavenly Controller. I don't know if you've ever heard of Heavenly Controller.
No.
That makes sense. He was a YouTuber who back in the day had assault allegations. And I don't know if they were proven or disproven. I have no way to verify those at all. No clue. I know Long Beach Griffey vouched for him. I know Afro Senju vouched for him. But they had also stated that he's too pushy and things of that variety. You have the mindset of him, of the exact opposite of him, and it is very interesting because you have I'd say like Ultra Instinct Wu-Tang mentality, thoughtless action, right? Where you're like, listen, it's gonna come around, it's gonna happen, whatever happens, happens. Cowboy Bebop in a sense. His mindset was, I am the will of the universe, and I will impose myself upon everything. And I partially agree with a small piece of that. I believe that when you enter a situation, you have to impose your will upon the situation. However, you should impose your will naturally. Your presence alone should shake the foundation of it.
That part, and that goes back to what we talked about forcing. And I think you'll like this too. But Wing Chun,
Hmm.
Wing Chun is not about resisting. It's about allowing momentum to carry movement. So somebody wants to punch you and go right with the punch. Because if you try to punch my face right and I go left, that's impact. But if you try to punch my face right and I go right, I'm absorbing it. So it's the same thing when you get in a situation, when the situation calls for you to step up, step up. When the situation calls for you to step back, step back. But we get too much into the other thing. It's time for you to step back and now you want to step up. It's time for you to leave and you want to stay. It's time for you to stay and you want to leave. And it's just our nature. It's our nature.
No, truly, you'd. If you was Porky Pig, you'd be spitting right now. I ain't gonna hold you. You just.
Porky Pig.
I haven't seen him in a minute. I just wanted to reference him for no reason. So, in essence, I must tend to my wife soon. But this has been one of the best conversations I've had in quite some time. If you are free again, please, I'll reach out. I usually try my best to reach out in a few days, something of that nature. I would love to speak to you again and talk more and pick your brain, because this has been fun. I've been having a good time with this.
Agreed.